Hello, beautiful people. Guess who we have here today? Liz Cross. I have no idea what she looks like, actually, because we need to protect her. She's done a lot of work for Scotland Yard, the FBI, and there's some bad people that we don't want them to know what she looks like or where she is. So she is our wonderful channel who also mind probes. And we're going to have my son Erik join us here. I love you, Erik. And you're going to help and pitch in too, right?
Absolutely. He loves you too. He's always happy to be here.
Oh, what else you got to do? Huh?
Well, he
Yeah,
says, I'm busy up here, you know.
I know, I know.
What-
I'm busy plowing the back 40. All right. All right, so we're going to mind probe the collective consciousness of North Korea. And I will just say, you guys need to check out Liz Cross's channel, YouTube channel, because she has so many mind probes of just things that are just amazing. So check it out. We're going to have all that information and her additional information in the description box below. All right. So, Liz, Erik, we're going to bring in the North Korean collective consciousness.
Okay, let me group them. So you want the population or the government or
I think
both?
we'll start out with the collective consciousness, but we can also bring in Kim Jong Il also. Let me get a pencil here. Yeah, I need a pen. Yes.
All right, I've got them here.
Hello, North Korea. Uh, why do you guys remain so isolated and brainwashed? And what's with your country? I don't
Um,
know. We're not brainwashed because we're brainwashed, so we think we're not brainwashed. No, I'm kidding.
um, so they're under complete control. Okay, what I'm getting is they're terrified. They are not allowed to associate with certain information. There's a lot of backstabbing. There's a lot of community watching communities,
Oh,
a lot of neighbors who will report you because, and the reason that they'll report you, it's not to be on Kim Jong Un's good side. It's because if they are uh, in the knowledge of anyone, criticizing the government, then they're also accountable because they didn't report it. So this is how he has his people, and they're telling me that they will be executed.
yeah. I heard that there's a three strikes thing, like very minor offenses. And if you get to three, that's it. I've heard it's called something, but I don't know. Well, why do you guys sign up for these experiences? And Erik, you can pitch in too. Why did you sign up? Spiritually speaking, let's give this to Erik to be living in such an isolated, controlled country.
So Erik is saying that there's lots of reasons. I mean, first of all, the life lessons that come with living in such a regime like this are very intense. You can't climb the social ladder, the financial ladder. You are under complete control at all times, oppression, fear of execution, enslavement. So it makes the soul really savor the idea of freedom.
Oh,
We all have had to have these lifetimes where our freedoms have been stripped from us
yeah.
in order to bring about so many of these emotions, these traps, these feelings. And then once we tick that box, hopefully, if we manage to process everything, we don't have to go through this again.
Good. Oh, geez. All right. What's the percentage of the population that gets the news and information from outside the country? North Korea, y'all might not know. So let's
I
ask
don't know.
that. Erik, do they get
It's
any
very,
information?
very little. It's about 3%.
Good Lord. Have any famous people reincarnated in North Korea before?
Famous people have reincarnated out of North Korea.
Yeah, I
Uh,
bet. once they're in there, they come out and say, nope, nope, no.
Right. They, like, I'm saying, would North Korea ever have access to like channeling Eric? And no, they wouldn't.
That's safe for us then, right? Well,
Well,
I mean, well, if the leaders got, yeah. Uh, have the leaders ever had worse past lives before? I'm not sure what that really means.
well, they have also been under oppression, this type of oppressed regime, but it
Oh,
wasn't actually in North Korea. As I'm looking into Kim Jong Un's past lives, he has been enslaved many times, mostly as a female.
wow.
Mostly as a, yeah, yeah, and mostly as a female, he's been, sexually enslaved,
Mm.
mentally, emotionally enslaved, whipped, beaten, forced labor.
Oh,
So basically, this is just his turn to bring about this type of, life lesson, this oppression to all of these many people. And that's one thing I've noticed, like, consistently when I've probed people like him or
Putin.
Putin.
Yeah,
They were the souls off the 3D thinking. They're the souls that put their hands up and said, "Oh yeah, I'll be the one that brings about all this terrible nonsense to loads and loads, millions of people." Um, so on a soul level, that's their part of the contract.
yeah,
Which is, you know, karma always has to repay itself. But I feel that Kim Jong Un, what I'm picking up on from Erik, is that he's done his time, as in, all the enslavement and all of this,
yeah.
many thousands and thousands of lifetimes of enslavement. So now it's his turn to bring it to the people.
So are you saying, I remember when we interviewed Hitler, Eric, that people were aghast that actually he sacrificed himself in order to play this horrible villain role so that it would usher in decades of peace afterwards, which I don't know about it now, but is that what Kim Young or Jung or whatever his name is that Kim Young is doing too?
So
To try
now,
to teach people about freedom?
is it about like, yes, because, well, that's a good question, because a lot of times you have to hit rock bottom to find that the only way is up, right?
Yeah.
Especially where countries are concerned and people are concerned, but not so much for North Korea.
Hmm.
This is going to be like this for a very, very long time. And it's going to pass down through the family, is what I'm being told.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so the family will, constantly take hold. Now, you may have other members of the family that are a little more lenient, but ultimately they're all being brainwashed and trained to bring about this type of oppression.
Okay, what does Kim Young, the father, and his father think about the country and the people now that they're in the afterlife?
They think it's great.
Even from
I
a spirit perspective, I mean, what when you reincarnate, what are your plans?
yeah,
Like
what?
one person asked, will you clear up the huge mess you've made?
Yeah, really. And I'm saying, I because I'm so surprised by that answer. But I'm
Yeah.
saying to them, like, why do you think it's great? Because it's doing exactly what they intended it to do. But are you speaking from a human perspective? No, speaking from a soul
Well,
perspective.
we want people to value freedom. Is that what it is?
Yes, because when the souls cross over from North Korea, when they're crossing over, like, they can't wait to leave the Earth plane. It's so bad. You know what I mean? Even though they miss their families,
Yeah.
that, and there's a lot of sadness and regret and grief and loss, but really that level of oppression on the earth plane, they really can't wait to get out of here. And they actually, I'm saying to his father, Kim Jong Un's father, I'm like, but Do they say, well, next lifetime I want to reincarnate into North Korea? And actually, it's very rare that
Oh,
they want to keep reincarnating back
message
in.
received. Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Well, when you guys reincarnate, what are you gonna be or do, etc.? Any plans for father or grandfather?
Um, we're coming to America.
Ooh, don't mess with us here. Mm-mm.
Right. They're coming to America. Um, that's what I'm getting is that, eventually they want to be over in the USA, and I'm saying, but are you actually going to be in leadership positions? And I'm getting a no on that.
Okay.
That era of being a leader in those positions is gone. Now even their souls want a taste of freedom.
Yeah. Well, are there any tourists that have been captured in North Korea that we don't know about that haven't been broadcast on the news? And if so, have they ever gotten out?
There's a lot of people that have gone missing, and
Mm.
tourists are included in that as
All
well.
right. Dead? Some of them?
Most of them have been executed. They've been accused of spying.
Oh. How old can souls be to be born in North Korea? And are there any star seeds and earth angels there?
Are they mostly young souls in North Korea, or are they mostly old souls? I mean, there's a big mixture of young and old. It's just about the level of experience, the heightened experience that they face there. They know when they're ticking that box, oh yeah, I'm going to go to North Korea, that this is going to be a hard lifetime.
Yeah.
Now that's interesting to me because a lot of times souls sign up for all of this stuff to take place on the earth plane, and as somebody put in one of my YouTube comments, they put, unbeknownst to, having that full consciousness of the ramifications that are going to take place when they're down here. It's like foolish choices, and then when they get here, they're miserable.
Yeah.
But actually,
It's
these
brave.
souls, yeah, these souls that are signing up for North Korea, I mean, they get a bird's eye view of what is going on there. They get an understanding, and they know, well, this lifetime is going to be particularly hard. And that's not just for North Korea. That's anywhere
Oh,
with,
yeah.
this level of
All over
problem.
the world. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Are there any star seeds or earth angels there? I'm sure there are, just like anywhere else, right?
There are, earth angels for sure, and there are a lot of souls that are just passing through in North Korea as well. uh it's interesting because most people that are not brainwashed by the regime, they're trying to get out, like they want to leave, they want to escape. But then you have this level of brainwashing by the regime as well. So that provides another element of freedom. First of all, you've got to, like, you know mentally escape from that oppression,
Yeah.
and then you have to find a way out across the border. And what I'm getting is, like, when we leave, we have to change our identity. We can't be
Oh,
who
yeah.
we once were.
The
We
witness
have,
protection program, kind of, right? Almost
yeah,
like that.
almost,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, especially when they flee over the border to South Korea, if that's even possible.
Mm. When they transition, North Koreans, and Eric, this might be for you. What's it like transitioning? And when you look back, what do you think of your leaders from your viewpoint in the afterlife?
You look back with sadness and despair, and you feel sorry for the souls that are still trapped there.
Yeah.
You've made it out, and you never want to go back.
Mm.
It's not the kind of place you want to have repeat lifetimes in.
Okay. Yeah. One off. How do ETs and higher beings feel about North Korea and its people? And have they ever assisted before?
Okay, so let me ask Bashar this question. How do you feel about North Korea? So immediately Bashar is laughing at me. I'm like, why are you laughing at that question? And it's like, you humans, you souls, you design this stuff, and you think that this is like what living is about, and having to evolve the soul. And he's laughing at me. I'm like, why? Why is this so funny? And he's saying, because it's just such a ridiculous notion that you have to work on, you get given this soul, and then you have to evolve that soul and grow and ascend that soul. And a lot of times you're stuck and you can't do it as fast as you want to. So they think it's actually quite ridiculous to create such a hellish type of environment on the earth plane, and this whole concept of evolving and growing the soul.
Yeah, I kicked it up a notch too much. Eric, you're a higher being. I love you. I'm so proud of you. You know that?
He does, yes, he does know that. Thank you.
So, what do you think from your perspective as a higher being?
Well, so from his perspective, he believes it's necessary,
Yeah,
right? It's all very necessary. As terrible as that sounds, it's really, if you are able to maneuver your way through the lifetime, you can exacerbate, the and highlight the issues.
yeah,
And if you can process your way out of it, your soul can ascend at a greater speed
yeah.
than just, a regular sort of lifetime
In
here
Kansas.
on the airplane,
Yeah. Okay.
because they have extreme. Eric is saying the poverty, the lack of food, the malnourishment, the lack of resources. I mean, everybody is under complete control, and having to find a source of happiness within yourself living under those conditions is actually quite a challenge.
Mm. What, Eric? What should our government do? Anything with North Korea, or just wait until they do something horrible?
What should our government do with North Korea? You have to let them be. You have to let them be, and let them make the move first,
Yeah,
and then we go in. But knowing that when we go in, if we ever get that opportunity, which I don't believe that opportunity will present itself anytime soon,
yeah,
but if we ever get that opportunity, it would be a rescue mission. and
yeah.
and where is everybody going to go? That's another issue. Then you're going to have millions of people that are wanting to flee. Who's going to take them?
All right, so um, let's probe Kim Jong Un and find out what his plans are. Any aggression toward America? Any alliance with Russia? I mean, what are your long-term goals and plans?
Well, I don't have a like upon connection, I always report the first thing that I find. And I mean, there's so much self-hatred within him. That
Oh,
is
wow.
like the biggest thing I'm picking up right now, is like all of this self-hatred, um anger, unresolved anger. Like it just, I don't know, he's really warped. Right? So
Right.
uh,
Where did it come from? Where did that come
where
from?
did it come from? And he's pointing to his father.
Figured.
He's pointing to his father. Like his father, and I'm asking him, did your father bring you up in this way? Yes, he did. So he was brought up with all of this hatred, this anger, this belief system, and that's the only thing he knows as far as being a human being on the earth plane. That's how he has been brainwashed to operate, so that the legacy continues. He actually, as I connect with him, he doesn't know the difference between right and wrong. So when we're telling him, or the world is telling him, you shouldn't behave in this way, he doesn't actually know any better
Oh,
in his mental status, even though I feel that he actually lived outside of North Korea at some point in his life.
oh,
That's coming
interesting.
through. But he didn't know any better. And even when he was living outside of North Korea, he really looked down on the other freedoms that other individuals that he was around had as like really ridiculous. So that just goes to show the level of brainwashing that he received.
Wow.
What are your end goals? I mean, complete control is what I'm getting. His end
Of
goal is complete
of
control.
of what? The world?
Complete control of the world. He would love to be ruler of the world and
Oh my
have
God.
complete control of the world, but he realizes that the North Korean military could never pull off something like that. There's not enough money. And I'm saying, but don't you realize that if you allowed like capitalism in the country, that you may actually find out that the country is better off, and the government may even be more powerful if you allowed that way of life. You know, you would be seen as a equal player on the world stage. And he says, "Oh, Liz, that's a ridiculous notion. Nobody wants to be like that."
Really? Hmm. Well, you say you couldn't compete with the U.S. military. How do you think the U.S. military got that way? We're a richer country because of capitalism, at least in part.
Yes, and yeah, exactly. But he's saying your people are completely out of control.
Oh, geez.
There's too many opinions. There's too much criticism of the government. The people, it's like a runaway, a runaway train almost, as it were, that your people are completely out of control. You have no control on the people whatsoever.
All right. Well, okay, yeah. Do you plan to nuke or attack America at all? The U.S.,
If he had the right opportunity, yes, he would.
but you don't, thankfully.
But what would be the right opportunity if he was attacked first?
What do you think about Trump? He just insulted you constantly. I'm sure that didn't help your self-loathing, calling you fat something or other and little rocket man. And
Did he call him Little Rocket Man? Oh my
I think
God.
so. I think so.
What do you think about Trump? He hates Trump. Why do you hate Trump? He's a disaster to society. Why is he a disaster to society? Because he's out of control himself.
And that's true. What about Biden? What do you think about Biden?
What do you think about Biden? He basically, his own personal thoughts, feelings, and opinion are he's not in charge. It's the people behind him feeding him the information.
Okay. How are the leaders, Eric, able to sign up for these evil roles? So what did they do to deserve this notorious title? Like Hitler, the same thing. It's probably because they sacrificed their reputation themselves to help whoever they're being evil over ascend as souls. Is that right? Or I don't want to put words in your mouth.
To sacrifice. Well, they're basically sacrificing their lifetimes to bring about lessons to the people. But I'm going to say this, like, I got to ask this, what happens when they cross over? Like, are they judged severely when they get to the other side? No, they just have a lot of learning, and they do a lot of life reviews of how much um, their regime or their tactics or
Oh,
whatever you want to call it affected other people, and they have to absorb all that, and that takes a long time for them to absorb.
I bet.
They have to understand how they affected every single individual,
Mm.
and how a lot of times they still continue to affect many people even if they're off the earth plane through
Wow.
generations of trauma.
Oh,
um,
wow.
and they ultimately have to come down and play the other side,
Yeah.
which is what is so interesting about Kim, the North Korean leader, which is he did all of his enslavement on the front end and his torture and all of that
Yeah.
on the front end, the victimization of that. And
Yeah.
now so what's going to happen to him once he leaves the earth plane? He's coming to America as well.
Oh, wow. Okay. Is he an old soul or a young soul?
Is he an old? He's a very old soul.
Okay. Um, well, to sign up with that much on your incarnation plate, I can imagine. Have any souls reincarnated throughout just North Korea? Sounds like no. Sounds like once they do it once, they don't ever want to come back. I'm going to read
I
the
mean,
clip notes next time.
right. I mean, you do have some that recycle back in,
Hmm,
but a lot of them don't. A
okay.
lot of them don't want to recycle back in there. It's so traumatizing and damaging. It's like experiencing 10 lifetimes of trauma, as opposed to just, a slow drip of trauma in a lifetime.
Ugh. Are there any ETs living in North Korea and underground, Eric? Maybe.
I I don't think they're living in North Korea, but they're heavily monitoring the
Oh,
weaponry, is what I'm getting.
oh.
They're
What sort of
monitoring
ETs?
the weapons.
What sort
Hmm?
of ETs are we talking about, Eric?
What sort of ET?
Reptilians, the bad or the good?
He says the whole shebang, his own
Oh,
words. They're constantly monitoring the weaponry, and his mental status. Like, is he going to set off or hit the button and take out humanity as much as possible? And I'm saying, but why do they need to monitor that? Because they're fascinated by what's going on with our souls. They
mm,
like to, they find this all very fascinating, even though it's actually very low level sort of
yeah,
consciousness compared to their level of consciousness, right? But they
right.
find it all very fascinating.
Like
But
going
they
to a
are,
petting zoo.
yeah, right, petting zoo. But yeah, they're watching the weaponry, and that's something that they do. What he's saying, that's something that they do across the world. They're all eyes on the nukes and the big
Yeah.
bombs and bioweapons.
Wow. Um, you said in a mind probe of can't remember. Well, anyway, that they do have nukes, Iran. And oh yeah, we did the supreme leader. And my husband said, I told him that. I said, no, they don't. And then I heard on the news, yes, they do. Some leader said, yeah, well, they do. They don't. They already have nuclear weapons. So that's kind of cool. Is there a connection between the leaders and the Illuminati slash ETs, the actual leaders?
Um, it's not that complicated. It really isn't. It's really basically on a soul level from Erik. It just isn't that complicated. The Earth plane and humans try to, make sense of how so much evil could be brought into the world.
Yeah,
And he says we overcomplicate everything.
yeah, we do. Are North Koreans able to ascend to 5D given the situation they've been brainwashed at large and living in low vibration states? I don't know if this is for you, Erik, or the North
Um,
Koreans. It might be hard to probe their consciousness if they're that brainwashed.
so I'll go into their souls. Do any of
Okay.
you actually manage to ascend into like a 5D? I mean, that's the goal. They're saying that's the goal. Why we're going through this is to maybe ascend off the earth plane and never have to reincarnate ever again. We're past that dimensional level.
Okay.
Um, so that is something to does anybody, yes, some people do experience that level of ascension, but they're telling me those are the people that manage to escape.
Oh, yeah. Because they see the contrast.
Mm.
What do your leaders do with your free time?
What
Let's
do
say
the
Kim Jong Un.
what do you do in your free time? He engages in a lot of sexual activity.
Oh, okay. Is he hooked to porn? That's
Are you,
typical of somebody who's self-loathing, probably.
oh, are you addicted to pornography? He watches a lot of pornography. He has a lot of women that cater to his needs. He gets to pick which ones he wants. I mean, it's all very sexual.
Okay.
Um, yeah.
Are there any secrets you're able to share? Maybe you can probe his mind or North Korea, or we can ask Erik. Any secrets you want to share about North Korea that the world doesn't know about?
Secrets that you want to share about North Korea doesn't know about. They have a lot more weapons than we actually are aware of. Most of them are kept underground.
Oh boy.
And I feel like are you getting a lot of funding from, I feel like they get a lot of funding from Russia.
Oh, I bet. All right. So
Uh,
what about China?
what about China?
What's your religion with
Yeah,
China?
they get like hush money, as in, if we stay over here and we be quiet and we're not like letting off missiles and scaring the whatever out of people. So it feels like they do get some money from China, just good behavior money.
Oh, well, why does Russia give you money?
Why does Russia give you money?
They need
Um,
it.
so when Russia needs to take the eyes off of them for a time being, if they're doing some sort of activity that they don't want to come to notice, they will give him money, and he'll let off a missile or two, and then all eyes are back on
Oh,
North
you're red
Korea.
flag. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, how many prisons are there in the country? And are there any prisons that are hidden in plain sight?
How many prisons are there in the country? There's hundreds of prisons, and there's many, many, many prisoners. And do you have any prisons that are just in like plain sight that people would think that they weren't prisons? Yes, they do. So they have homes that are actual prisons as well. But those people have an agenda. Their mission is to, infiltrate into the community and report back information.
Interesting. So, how did you guys do in the pandemic? Did you lock people in their homes, or did you let them out? I don't care. They can spread it amongst themselves.
How did you guys do in the pandemic? Did you lock people indoors? I mean, it was seen as Western propaganda and carry on as normal. In a lot of cases, it was the Western trying to scare us. This is all
Oh,
misinformation.
I
This is propaganda. They're trying to, make you believe that there's this thing out there. So it was really fed to the people that, you can't be too certain this is propaganda. But then I do feel like a lot of people did get quite ill,
yeah.
and then they basically palmed it off and said, you know, that they infiltrated our country, and that they're trying to make people ill. It's all very like conspiracy theory how it was sold to
Yeah.
the North Koreans. So that was a good question. I never thought about that.
Where are they?
They went to Conroe.
I knew it. I told you. Idiot. The window installers went to our address, but in Conroe. I knew it. That happens. Okay, will Korea ever be free? North Korea?
They'll be free. They will eventually, but it's going to take a long time. It's going to have to be like a generational, amongst generational, like many generations down the line, to really change the way of thinking. Um, it's going to take a very long time.
Probably over 1,000
Probably,
years.
yeah, probably long after we're all gone, right?
Oh
So,
yeah, right. Then I don't care. Is North Korea ranked the darkest country of all?
no,
What
no.
what is it?
Uh,
One of the African countries
yes, it is
or Middle
actually.
East or okay.
I got around the Congo.
Okay. Is there any underground base or secret tunnels in the country? And I think they're talking about ET bases because it was right after that ET question we asked earlier.
Underground Tunnels. Yeah, there's a whole network underground, but not ET, but
Okay.
military, a whole
Okay.
network. Lots of weapons are being kept underground.
Wow.
Lots of weapon making, lots of testing, nuclear testing. All of that is going on underground.
Okay. This is interesting. What is the mystery? What are the mysteries and the purpose of the fifth floor of Yanggakdo Hotel that they have no access to now? The fifth floor of that hotel. Don't make me say
The,
it.
the fifth floor of, and what's the name of the hotel?
It's Yang Yang and then Gak Gakdo or Do Yanggakdo Hotel.
I feel like there was a lot of torture and murder going on there.
Mm, okay. So that's the purpose, the torture chamber, huh?
Is it a torture chamber? It yes, at least at one time it was, yes.
North Korean consciousness. Do you know what the outside world is like compared to yours?
I mean, they hear things. It's very much like whispering. Oh, my family and wherever say that their life is like this or their life is like that, but not a firm grasp on that reality. No, it's just, and actually, a lot of the information is overinflated. Like, in America, the streets are paved with gold,
Oh
and
yeah. Yeah.
so there's a lot of that as well. There's food on every corner, and it's free, and yeah, it's
Wow.
yeah, there's a lot of that too.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and stop this part one, and we will start recording part two now. So you guys hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. It gets even more interesting if that's even possible. You guys check out Liz Cross in the description box. And thank you, Eric. I love you so much, honey.
Oh, he loves you too. He loves you too. He says he knows the holidays are hard for you.
Yeah, they get easier little by little. Over the decades, it'll get easier. All right. Bye, everyone. I love you.